This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we have two set of architecture. That is, one is the ECC R3 planning. Then, if for a few materials or for the whole plant, if you want to do some advanced planning, then you have this supply chain management system. In that, there are different components. If you are doing a long-term planning, it is called as DP. And if you are doing a mid-term planning or short-term planning, it's called a supply network planning. And within the plant, if you are doing a short-term planning, that is called as PPDS. PPDS is the expansion of production scheduling and detailed scheduling. That is, all these components are available as part of supply chain management component in the earlier version of SAP. Now, going forward, when SAP introduced this S4HANA, they merged a lot of components into the new technologies. Like S4HANA, they embedded this PPDS, that is the production planning and detailed scheduling. Why? Because it's moreover an advanced version of MRP. In MRP, what you do is you will do material requirement planning, and in ECC also you have this capacity related. You can do a capacity leveling, all those things. Whereas using this PPDS functionality, in a single shot, you can do both production planning and also the detailed scheduling with the use of different heuristics. Heuristics are nothing but the advanced algorithms which are inbuilt in SAP ECC system. According to your company procedure also, you can create your new set of heuristics. That is also possible. Now, with this S4HANA, what they did is they embedded this PPDS as part of S4HANA package. But even though it's a separate license cost, now it's available in S4HANA. There is no two system architecture required going forward. This they started from 1509, and this current version of 1909. There are some advanced all the features. That is, initially when they introduced this S4HANA, they introduced this PPDS with a limited functionality. Then they introduced 2 apps, 3 apps, 4 apps, the Fiori apps. Now, the most of the functionalities of PPDS, now it's available in this S4HANA, which is 1509, the latest version, what SAP has released. The S4HANA is the 4th generation SAP release shoot. That is the latest version. Then, what about the other planning tools like SNP and DP? SNP and DP, they move to a different area that is called as IBP, Integrated Business Planning. That itself is a separate tool now. We can integrate that to our S4HANA, or else we can work that independently with any of the ERP softwares where you have the production control. That is also possible now. So now the architecture is S4HANA, which is embedded with PPDS, and another one component of IBP, which takes care of demand planning and supply network planning. And going forward, now what happens is that this S4HANA, it's available in both cloud and on-premises. Maybe since all you are working in SAP, you know the concept, because SAP, when they introduce the license, they will give both in cloud and also in on-premises. This S4HANA is available in both cloud and on-premises, whereas the IBP is available only in the cloud. It's not available for the on-premises version. Still, they have to release that for the on-premises version. Okay. Now, if you, any one of you are aware of what is this PPDS and what is the APO functionalities? The team, Douglas, Thomas.
Sorry, what was the question again?
No, if any of you aware how the architecture looks earlier and what are the masters we required for the planning, advanced planning?
Yeah, to some extent.
Okay, okay. I'll give an overview of what are the masters available. So in the next slide, these are the main masters which you record for earlier planning. When we connect the ECC system to APO, these are the major masters. The first one is the calendar. That is nothing but our factory calendar. Or we can define our own planning calendar or a sales calendar or a warehouse calendar. Whereas in R3, only we can have our factory calendar as the major calendar. Apart from it, we can add our procurement. That is the planning calendar we can have. Only two calendars are available in R3. Whereas in APO, we can customize our own calendars as per the business process, what we are defining. That is the first set of master data. Then comes the location. See, whatever you create in R3, that is called as, we used to call it as a plant, customer master, vendor master, like that. When it goes to APO, all this detail they used to call it as a location master there. Customer location master, vendor location master, plant location master. So this is an important master data. Whenever you integrate an R3 system to an APO system, you should have a location master in both the systems. Okay, then only your data will flow from one system to another system. This is the earlier architecture. Then the resource. See, whatever you have in R3 is called as work center. When it's transferred to APO, they call it as a resource. Okay, the same work center you'll create in R3, you'll be transferring to APO, or in APO also you can directly create an work center with a lot of additional screens which are available in APO. It's an advanced version of work center what we create in R3. Then comes the product, the material, whatever you create in R3. Normally we will create the masters in R3 and we will transfer the data to APO. In R3 it's called as a material master. When it gets transferred to APO, it's called as a product master. There are a couple of other fields also which are automatically it will get enabled when you transfer this material from R3 to APO for the advanced planning. Okay, now this is the earlier architecture. Then this one is the product data structure, the PDS they used to tell. The main advantage, what is PDS? PDS is the combination of our bill of material and routing. In R3, we used to call this as a production version. If you see earlier the architecture of R3, only for the repetitive manufacturing scenario, whenever your industry has the continuous process, then the production version is mandatory. Then only those kind of industries they opted for this APO and they can transfer this. Even for discrete also we can have this PDS, but that is not a mandatory one. Now since this PPDS component is embedded to this S4HANA, now they made this production version as mandatory. Because of that, in spite of whether you work for discrete manufacturing or you work for discrete repetitive manufacturing, you should always create a production version. That in turn, it will get transferred to APO for the advanced planning as a PDS, production data structure. So what is the main advantages of this? Main advantages is that always when you run MRP or heuristics or this new concept, what they call as MRP live, the BOM and routing, it will get explode based upon the PDS or the production version validity end date. It will not get exploded based upon the BOM and routing date. Earlier, when you work for a discrete manufacturing scenario, when you run MRP, the system will check for the valid BOM and routing. It will check for the validity date. Then it will get explode. Then once you convert a plant order to a production order, then after that, if there is any changes in the BOM, then you have to go and do an additional step, the rate PP master data. Even if you release also, it will check for the BOM. In this case, now with the new functionality, what happens, right? it explores based upon the production version validity date. That is one of the major change with this S4HANA SAP has introduced. So that is a mandatory one. Whether you have discrete or whether you have repetitive, what kind of scenario you have, production version is mandatory, and the same will be transferred to APO as a production data structure. So these are the main masters which are available as part of PPDS planning. Now, earlier what we used to do is we used to create this, like we used to create a material in R3. We have to shift this to APO. That is the core interface. That is a one-way transfer. You have to create in R3 that will be transferred to APO. But when you do any changes to the masters in APO, that will not come and reflect in R3. It's a one-way. It's kind of one-way transfer. And even directly you can create some masters in APO. So whatever the masters you create in R3, you have to shift it to APO. That is the earlier architecture. Now with this S4HANA PPDS embedded in the material master itself, earlier if you see, right, there are only MRP 1, 2, 3, 4 views. Now they introduced one more view called as advanced planning. So by enabling that view, by activating certain functionalities in that APO, this material is relevant for APO planning. So that facility SAP has given in this S4HANA version. So in the same material, in the same system, you can do the functionality of both R3 planning, and also you can mark that material for APO planning. With a single run, the MRP live, the new concept what SAP has introduced, you can do both R3 planning and APO planning. Now the concept of shifting the data from R3 to APO is stopped. No need to do the data transfer from R3 to APO. Earlier, when the company had this R3 and APO, right, normally there will be a lot of background jobs in the night. First, they will shift all the master data, whatever they have created in R3, and they will transfer to APO. Then they will transfer the rest of the data, like PDS, work centers, whatever they newly created in R3, they have to shift it to APO. If there is an inconsistency in the data, then there will be a queue error. You need to analyze the error, why the error is come. If there is any inconsistency, you have to correct it. There is a separate team. It's a huge task. Now, in the master itself, they are given these provisions to activate these materials for the APO planning. No need to do the shift transfer from R3 to APO. Any question on this, on the masters?
No.
Okay, so when we take this session, right, going forward, if you continue this section, I will explain you what are the masters and what are the areas we need to activate, which you have to make it relevant for APO planning. So each and every field in the material master, in the BOM, in the routing, and also in the PDS, that is the production version. So I will explain you the key fields which we need to make relevant. Yeah, sorry.
Just a comment, for our case, we do not use APO separate ACM planning system somewhere. We use our own developed APS system, just to give you a background.
Okay, understood. Maybe going forward, if your plant is migrating to S4HANA, this is the new functionality which are available. So this functionality, you can use it.
Okay, that's what we are interested to know about.
Yes. I'll explain you how to configure in this S4HANA system the APO functionalities. First, to set up this, earlier, there are two system architecture. With the basis, we have to make the connections. Then we will be activating certain jobs to transfer the data from R3 to APO. Now, in the same system, even though it is embedded, there are some basic customizations. In the system also, I will show you what are the basic customizations. So when we go for the real training, right, I will explain you what we need to activate for the initial setup after the system is up. Once the S4HANA is implemented, what are the basic customizations we need to do in order to do the transfer from APO to R3. Those paths I will show you in the demo now. During the our training, I will show you detailed what are the things we need to take care. Okay.
Do you also in the training how to implement our own heuristics if they are missing?
Yes, yes, yes. I'll explain you the existing heuristics. Then, if at all, if you have any specific requirements, we will create our own heuristics and we will execute that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, these are the details on the master data. Then coming to the master data integration, this is the earlier architecture. Okay. We have a lot of programs to run, to transfer. Then there is a separate team to monitor this. And this is the master data. Then what about the transactional data? Transactional data are two-way transfer. So once all the masters are transferred there, you will run heuristics there. Then it will based upon your plan, whether you are creating a MMSA, SDSA, that is the scheduling agreement for the vendor, scheduling agreement for the customer, or the in-house production plant order, that will get transferred to R3. Once it's confirmed there, again it will go and update into APO system. That is the earlier architecture. Now, here the feasibility to do everything in a single screen, single system. That is within the S4HANA, you can do all these functionalities. But there is some limitations. What limitations we have? Like I earlier said, only the masters, there is no need to get transferred to APO. Whereas we have to transfer whatever we are creating new for the location master and also PDS. We have to transfer as new to APO system. This we have to do. That functionality also I will explain you when we have this real training. Because when you create a new plant in the R3, suppose in the S4HANA also, if you are creating a new plant, you need to make this plant relevant for APO. Then you have to shift this plant for the APO planning. That is called as the core interface shift. We have some specific transactions like CFM1, CFM2, CFM3, then CFM5 to check the live integration models. First, we have to transfer this, whatever the location master, whatever you are creating in R3 to APO. In S4HANA also, you have to transfer this location first. Then in S4HANA, they have introduced a new concept called business partner. Maybe all of you are aware of this. This is the new concept which SAP has introduced. All the vendor master and customer master, now it's integrated into a new area called business partner. That is the XD03 and the vendor master, both the things they combine to a new terminology called business partner. That also you need to transfer to APO. If you are planning with your customer or if you are planning with your vendor, that you need to do. And whenever you're introducing a new BOM and routing, you have to transfer this PDS also, the production data structure also you have to transfer. That is the main criteria. So in this slide, if you see, right, after MRP4, they have introduced a new tab called advanced planning. This is in the material master screen. Like that, in BOM also they introduced one new field in routing. So wherever they require, SAP has introduced some new screens. So this is just an so SAP has given some heuristics due to the simplification reasons. If you see that the earlier PPDS version, SAP has given us some 29 to 30 heuristics which are available as part of standard. Additionally, as per your business requirement, you can create your own heuristics also. That is also possible. But with the current, sorry, with the current S4HANA environment, SAP has given only 12 heuristics as part of standard. So there's 12 heuristics with the detailed descriptions and the SAP technical help also I will give you. Maybe you all the basic requirements which are followed universally across the globe, they have combined into this 12 heuristics. Apart from it, if we have any other new requirement, we can create our own heuristics. That is also possible. But in this S4HANA with the 1909 version, we have only 12 standard heuristics which are available now. Then what about the Fiori apps? This is the new terminology which SAP is coining from the beginning. So in earlier, if you see, right, you may be aware, you may be attended some S4HANA trainings. So whatever the transactions we have in our ECC or R3 systems, that they converted into a new app, each one comprising of a new app. But in APO, that is in the PPDS functionality, we had a lot of customized transactions and also the standard transactions. But SAP has given in this S4HANA with the PPDS embedded, it has given us only some two new heuristics, that is the production planning, scheduling board, and monitor capacity utilization. And this 1909 version, they have introduced two more Fiori apps. They are slowly developing these new apps, but most of the functionalities whatever we have in ECC that got covered in these two new apps. Only two new apps are available as part of earlier version. With this 1909 they have introduced two more new apps. As per my knowledge, only 4 apps are available as part of Fiori development for this PPDS functionality. Okay, if any questions I can address, or else we will go for the system demo.
No questions.
Okay. I'll go to system. I'll give you the basic overview. Okay, first we will start with the customization. Okay. So this is the SBRO customization. If you see, right, earlier we do not have this particular node, the advanced planning node. Now they have introduced this new node. In this, if you see, right, they have given some set of customization which we need to make, which is then only the system is relevant for APO planning. These are straightforward customizations. So I will explain you this one. This is activate advanced planning and scheduling. You need to these are the client level. Then the next functionality, if you see, right, setting up data transfer. As I said, we have to transfer the data from R3 to APO. In this case, we are mentioning what are the heuristics we have to get transfer from R3 to APO. So you have to select all those options here. Like that, it has got all the customization steps. Maintain calendar, these are APO specific relevant. Maintain PDS, what are the things like that. It has got all those customizations. So in order to run a PPDS functionality, I will explain you what are the customizations we need to make. That is the second step. First step, I will tell you how to configure in the S4HANA the PPDS functionality. That is the first step. We need to make certain live cat settings. Then we need to make the shift transfer settings. Those are all the minimal settings. Then you have to do all the master data settings. How you want to view your APO screens. This area as part of customizations we will cover.
Question: do you provide documentation to these steps, or which you cover in the training?
Yes. The basic documentation I will give you. But if you want a detailed documentation, I will give you the link of SAP IMG, because SAP has given a very good detailed description of each and every node. The documentation also we will share. But what are the customization we are doing, I will document that. I will give it to you. The course, how it goes is, we will create our own company code and all the details, plant everything. And then we will set up that is APO relevant steps. Then we will create our own masters, like a mini project we will do on this training.
Based on which system? So
based upon this training system. Naveen, this training system will be given to the users also, right?
Our guys provided access to the system, or it will be open for the channel?
Yes. I'll check with Naveen. I think he will give access for this particular system. I will explain you. Then after that, we can define a plan. We can define all those data. We can transfer it like a mini project we will do in this particular system. The end-to-end customization, end-to-end data transfer, then creation of masters, the planning strategies, whatever we want to adapt, then running that MRP live, everything we do as a mini project.
How is the course schedule?
Pardon?
How is the course schedule?
Cost schedule.
How long do you run this course? And
maybe for 1 month, 20 days, 20 working days.
And how many hours per day?
As per your requirement. If you want to join daily also, I'm okay. If you want on weekend batches also, I'm okay. We will work on that, Douglas. We'll work on that.
Okay.
Maybe we will
So
complete this.
you can customize the schedule.
Yes, we will give you a detailed plan. Maybe I'll ask Naveen to discuss with you your users availability. Then we will plan based upon your holidays, everything we will consider. We will make a simple project plan. Then we will execute this. Is that fine? Can I go to next step?
Yes, you can go to next.
Okay. If you see right now why I'm talking on the SIFT transfers, earlier we had these transactions like CFM1. Okay, here you need to create the integration models. Here if you see, right, this also I will explain you earlier what is the architecture, what we will be doing. Now what is the new architecture with which we can do the data transfer. So suppose if you want to transfer your plant, you need to select this, you have to create a model, you have to give your plant here. Then this is the creation of integration model. Then there is another step called CFM2. Once you activate that, then the data whatever you have created there, that will be get transferred to APO. Then we have some of the queues monitoring. Suppose if there is an error, then it will be stuck in this particular area as a queue. You need to go and monitor this queue. Why? Because suppose if you have created a plant and if you are not assigned any description to it, because of that, if it's pending in the queue, it's not got transferred. So it's a big task now. And now it's simplified that only the plant and the PDS you have to get transferred. Rest of the master data at the master data level itself, if you activate, then the data will move to APO. Okay, these are the earlier transactions. Now these transactions are simplified. Now I'll go to material master. I'll show you that. Sorry, I'll go for display. Okay, this is one of the material. If you see that MRP 1, 2, 3, 4, they have this advanced planning. Okay, in the advanced planning tab, so I will explain you what is this each and every field in this. Then these are the product heuristics which are available. If you see here, right, there are 12 heuristics available. Length-based heuristics, multiple output planning heuristics, planning of standard lots, like that. So for all these heuristics, standard heuristics, I will give you the detailed SAP description, what SAP has given with the details. Apart from that, if you want to customize any heuristics, suppose if you are getting some orders from the customer, some 10,000 quantity, and if you want to level all the plant orders as per your requirement, that is, if it starts from Monday to Friday, Monday you want to have the maximum order, and Tuesday you want to have the next level, then Thursday, and it should gradually release it up to Friday. If you have similar kind of requirement, we can create our own heuristics. Or if you want to level all the plant orders equally across all days in spite of your work center resource, that heuristics also we can create. So based upon your planning, we can create our own heuristics. That is possible. Okay, these are the standard heuristics. I'll explain you the basic standard heuristics, then how heuristics is defined, how to customize a new heuristics, and what is the functionality of this 12 heuristics. I'll give you a detailed of these things also. So here, if you activate this one, this material is relevant for APO planning. Earlier, what we used to do is that if you go to MRP2 view, in this, sorry, MRP1 view, we used to have this as an external planning, X0. Okay, without MRP, with the bomb explosion. If you give that, the system during the MRP run, this material, it will not be considered for the MRP run. It's relevant for some external planning. So whatever the external planning system you have, it will be planned there. Now, no need to activate it. If you activate this one, automatically this material is relevant for APO planning. This is at the master level. Similarly, For each and every record, we have some settings that I'll explain you. So once you have this material in R3, so this is the transaction to view the material in APO. If you see, right, this is the product master in APO. You can see the production planner, whatever we create in R3 as the MRP controller, that will be updated here. So you can see the demand tab, you can see the PPDS tab. So if you maintain all the data, then the details will be coming here as a product. This is one area. Then the location master, what I told you, this each and everything we will explain you. So if you go for location master, it's LC. Sorry, this is the location. This is the plant. Sorry, if you go here, you can see what it is. It's a production plant, or it's a distribution center, or the shipping point. Like that, you have different these things. Is it a warehouse? Like that you have. Then if it is a vendor, customer, then once you display, it will give you a detailed description of this location, what we create there as a plant, what is the calendar assigned to it. If you want to have these different calendars are available, you can configure your own calendar. The one beauty in this that, so in the work center in the R3, whatever the factory calendar you will define, you will assign there. When you activate that work center for APO planning, the factory calendar what you assigned in work center, that will get transferred to APO for the planning. Or else you can create your own calendar also here. That is also possible. It is related to the work center. Similarly, we have a lot of transactions, like this is a production planning table. If you have all the data, then I can execute and show to you. But since we don't have data, it's a fresh system now. We don't have data. This is one table, like an MD04. Using these transactions, we can go inside, we can analyze our results, and we can run our heuristics from there. This is the product planning table. Like similarly, we have another one table called SDPT. So this is another one product planning table. Using this also we can go enter and see it has got a lot of functionalities. So these are APO relevant customizations and transactions. Similarly, now the MRP new is MD01N. This is the MRP live transactions. Okay, what is the advantages of this MRP live? So MRP live is comprises of some 4 to 5 transactions. What is the advantages of this MRP live? So earlier what we used to do is, there are different transactions like MD01, MD02 and MD03. All these things combining, they bought a new transaction called MD01N. Earlier, why we had this 3 transaction is because of performance issue, and we had this MDBT transaction also to schedule the jobs in the background in order to not to disturb the system performance during the daytime, during the plant running time, by running this MRP and having the performance issue. So since this S4HANA works on the live cache, we can use this MRP live and we can run any number of times for any huge number of data. The advantages of it runs for all the records in a fraction of a second, maybe a few minutes, and it will give us a better results combining both R3 planning and also the APO PPDS planning. In the single step, we can do for the entire planning, which are marked for both R3 planning and also for APO planning. That is the one major advantages of this MRP Live. Then another one advantages of this MRP Live is that, as I said, it's combinedly it's called as an MRP cockpit. So the SAP has given us from 3 to 4, 5 apps. So a planner can daily log into those apps and he can see if there is any bottleneck. Suppose if you want to produce one component today and the raw materials are shortages for it, and only the 5 materials you want to make and a separate list and analyze, you can select those 5 materials and you can create a new app and you can directly select that material and you can execute that MRP Live online. It will not have any performance issue, and the data also, it will be very fast during the run. It will not have any hindrance. That is one advantages of this. That is a major advantages we can say of this MRP Live. It makes the planner to plan his activities whenever he wants. That is the one advantage. We will run this MRP Live also as part of our training with the different scenarios, and we will execute and we will see the results. When the MRP Live is completed, it will give you the list of materials which are planned in R3, and you can see the materials which are planned in APO also. There are relevant tick marks which are available with which you can distinguish how many materials are planned in R3, how many materials are planned in APO. That list also we can have after this MRP Live run. So if you go to SAP standard menu, you can see after logistics, after production. So you can see this advanced planning tab. You can see all the masters like location master, product master, resources nothing but the work center, all those things. Then what is the hierarchy? Then those things you can have it here. Then monitoring details, alerts, then the collaboration areas, collaborative. These are related for the SDSA. If your company is working agreement with the customers, that is the, if you are having the collaborative management detailed scheduling procedures, then this is applicable. Then the production plannings, automated production plannings. If you are working with CDP, production planning runs, those all the details are available here. Manufacturing executions, that is also available here. So only the major areas, like we will be converting some materials for the APO run. We'll be selecting some materials for the heuristics. We will run it. We'll make some manual demand. Then we will execute. We will see the results, and I will explain you how it is getting calculated by using the different heuristics that we are going to cover in this. First step is that getting activation of PPDS functionality in this S4HANA. Then making some of the masters relevant for APO planning, then explaining on the heuristics, what are the heuristics available in PPDS as part of S4HANA, then running some simple scenarios to understand how the heuristics is behaving, then followed by the documents and training materials, whatever it's applicable to this training. That we are going to cover as part of this training. Yes, Douglas, hello. Any questions on this?
No, no questions.
Okay. Going forward, Douglas, if you're okay with the demo and if you'd like to enroll, I will inform Naveen to contact you. He will work on with your timing and the schedules and what are the deliverables.
Okay.
Once you agree in that, we can start this.
Okay, it will be separate session, not the same which is already presented with other guys.
No, it will be separate for your team because that time they want from the PP and also the APO functionalities. Whereas your team, they already know this PP concept, we can straight away pitch into APO, the PPDS functionalities.
Okay, so the focus will be on the S4 PPDS.
Yes, mainly on S4 PPDS. But we will be teaching the minimum setup which is required in the core S4HANA for the production planning. But the main focus, it will be on the PPDS area.
Okay. So we will evaluate internally with our team and then give feedback to, what is his name? I forgot.
Naveen.
Yes. Okay.
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 Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining this meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a happy weekend. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.